Hello everyone, I'm back with another video. This time I'm going to talk about your moon sign and how it relates to how you perceive your mother, your links to your matriarchal ancestors, the soul lessons that you came to learn on an emotional level in this life to give you the things you need to make you the person you are in your destiny, and your how you express yourself at home, the persona that you give off to people that know you very well, such as your family and loved ones. It's your relaxed persona. The moon sign also alludes to your spiritual gifts and your intuitive powers, and this will apply to both females and males. This is not gender specific. We all have a moon sign. If you have watched my older videos, I always talk about you are not just your sun sign. Your sun sign is like the introduction to a book if you're reading a book, whereas your ascendant is the cover of the book. You know how they say you can't judge a book by its cover. Well, your moon sign is like chapter 1. It's the beginning. It explains why you act the way you act, what your strivings are, what your ambitions are, why you respond to people if they say something to you in the wrong way or they treat you this way, so you act like this. And it's also how you guard yourself emotionally, how you guard your heart, and how you express love. But not the love like romantic love, like the planet Venus, but the type of love you express to your friends, your family, and people that you care about. The moon, once again, it will give you links into what your female ancestors went through. It will give you clues of that. And it will also give you clues to what the lessons are that they needed to learn in order for you to improve the matriarchal bloodline, whether you are female or male. Another thing to keep in mind is your moon sign is how you perceive your mother. That's what a lot of people don't understand. So say, for instance, if you have 3 siblings, each sibling, they're gonna all have their own moon sign just like you. And if you put if someone lines all of you in a room and say, well, what is your perception of your mother? You all are going to probably have a very different perception one from another, because just as when we look out at the sky and the moon, I may see it in the east, you may see it in the west, because the moon is always rotating and changing, then that is going to be their own personal perception of how the mother is perceived to them and how she expresses herself to them. So everyone's going to have a different idea of how mother was in their own mind. And it's not to say who's right, who's wrong. You can get into an argument with a sibling and be like, mother wasn't like that. That's not true. But it will be very different, because each of you will have your own karmic imprint with your mother and why you chose her to be your mother for different reasons. So it is going to be natural that you all don't look at your mother the same. Another thing I want to note specifically is, before I get started, because I'm sure with this Mercury retrograde energy, I'm going to mess this up. Your mother, your moon sign, once again, is how you view your mother, does not mean that is her moon sign. So if your moon is in Pisces, that does not mean your mother is a Pisces. Your mother could be an Aquarius, but you have this Pisces moon, and you're still going to perceive her like the characteristics of a Pisces or any other sign that I'm talking about. If you're a Taurus moon and your mother is a Capricorn, even though she's a Capricorn and she has her own moon sign and ascendant and everything else, you're still going to perceive her through that lens. That's how you are going to, that's going to define the relationship you have with her, how she treated you, what you expected from her, what you didn't get from her, what you needed from her, and all of those different types of things. Another thing to keep in mind is, as well, the mother does not have to be the biological mother. Your moon sign can also link to the woman that made a soul contract with you to be your adoptive mother in this lifetime. It could have been your grandmother that raised you. It could have been an auntie. It could have been someone who's not even blood kin to you in a specific situation that was a key figure in your life. So usually it will deal with your biological mother and your biological female ancestors, but it can also deal with the major woman who helped raise you and shape the person that you are in your life. Another thing is, too, I'm going to go through all 12 signs, and in order to be concise as possible, if there's a sign that you're not interested in, I'm going to leave each minute when I go through each sign. When I'm done with Aries, I'll put the minute where it starts at Taurus, and then you can skip. Like if you don't want to hear about Aries or Taurus and you want to skip to Libra or somebody, you can skip right to the part of the video that's relevant to you or someone that you're interested in. So you're welcome for that. What else do I want to say? I'm going to be working from my notes because I always like to make sure I say everything that's on my mind. I don't like to miss it in my video. Once again, your moon sign is how you are at home. Your rising is how people see you, how strangers perceive you. Oh, well, I thought she was like that, or I thought he was like that, or how people assume you are, what people assume about you, like based on, like you could do a YouTube video and people will make assumptions about you. That's your rising sign, is what they're looking at. And then you have your sun sign, which is your basic personality and certain strivings and things like that. But your moon is, once again, is who you are at home to the people who know you well. Because a perception a stranger has of you and someone that really knows you is going to be totally different, because someone who knows you well is going to see more of that reflection, that moon, the power behind the throne of the sun and ascendant sign. So let's keep going. Let me make sure I'm going through this like I want to. Another thing I want to say is, everything is not going to apply. It's not going to apply to the T, because you could have had a totally different socialization going on in your life. You could have come from a different culture. You could have other aspects in your chart, in your houses and things like that, that conflict with what I am saying. So everything will not fit like a glove. Take what applies and leave the rest if it doesn't make sense. Another thing is too, you must know your time of birth and your place of birth in order to get an accurate description of what your moon sign is, because there can be many different moon cycles in a day, I believe, if I have that correctly. But anyway, it's very important for you to know exactly what time you were born in order to get the correct moon sign. This will also give you links to your planetary houses and different things such as that. So let's get started, beginning with Aries. If you are a moon in Aries, no matter what sign your mother is, you probably see her as loud, outgoing, kind of like a Tiffany Haddish character, funny, adventurous, and someone who's more like a big sister to go out and have fun with, your partner in crime. And a person who has Aries moon will have the type of mom where they can go out to a club together. They'll have a drink together. They'll smoke a joint together. Not saying that everybody does this, but I'm giving you different examples. Another thing that you will see with Aries mothers are they can be very take charge. They can be very bossy and domineering to their male counterparts in relationships. You will often see men who, with Aries women, they enjoy their company, but the woman almost seems like she takes over everything, even if she's a feminine energy. Now, the flip side to an Aries mom is, if you have Aries moon, the flip side to your mother could possibly be that you may not want to always bring your friends around her, because you never know what she's going to say or what she's going to do. She can be the type of mother that dances on top of the tabletop, or makes all kind of jokes, or says certain cuss words that more reserved people won't understand. Or she may be very blunt. She can come off rude even if she doesn't intend to be, very pushy. So some people will say, okay, well, I'm not going to introduce my mother just yet, or they'll have to give a warning like, okay, this is how my mother is, so get ready. Even though the Aries moon person enjoys their mother for the most part, a lot of times they have to prepare their friends and their mates before they introduce the mother, because she can be very outspoken and sometimes even obnoxious, to a degree. Another flip side to the Aries moon mother, which is the darker side, is if you have Aries moon, your mother could have been the type that will just punch you. Like if you say something quick to her, just out of impulse, she just smack you, hit you with something, throw something at you, hit you with a broomstick. Always threaten, I'm gonna punch you, I'm gonna do this. Very aggressive type of energy. Not always, but many times she can have a very threatening type of demeanor, quick to get the belt, quick to whip you. Not saying that a lot of people didn't get spankings, but especially so with the Aries mother. And she's the type of mother to where she's lenient and she's enabling when you're doing things wrong or you have bad habits. You could be getting bad grades in school, not all the time, so please don't be offended. You could be getting bad grades in school, getting into fights with people. You could be bullying other children, and all of that stuff your mother let it slide. Oh, they just talking about my baby. She can also be the type of mother where If someone's bullying her child, she will go up to the school and be like, oh, you messing with my child? She can go talk to someone else's child and be like, oh, you touched my child? Well, come on over here. She'll tell her daughter or her son, you come over here and you fight him, and I'm not leaving till you fight him, and you better win. So they're very assertive a lot of times. But the thing is, they let the children get away with a lot of stuff. They can often be enablers to children's bad habits. But if it's something that offends her at the last minute, or you getting on her nerves, you making too much noise, you say something out of turn, that's when she pops you. That's when the hitting comes out of nowhere. So oftentimes it's not a lot of discipline with if you have an Aries moon. Your mother may not be a strong disciplinarian, but she will hit you usually out of anger or impulse. And then her temper tends to be quick-tempered to where it's done. After she's done, she's like, oh, baby, you still mad about that? I'm done with that. And with the Aries moon in general, you can be the type of person that's quick-tempered, but once it blows over, you good. You let it go. You're not the type of person to hold on to it like a Scorpio moon. You let it go. Once you had a fight, or once you have a beef with somebody, you're able to just, you punched them already. You're ready to move on down the street. So another thing is too with Aries moon, you like a lot of action. You like to be on the go. So later on in life, if your mother ever becomes sick or incapacitated, or she's not able to move around, she may be a person that's always on the go, always liking to do things at the nightclub. Hey y'all, I'll see y'all later. I'm finna go to the nightclub. She does her thing. She likes to be independent of her children. She remembers to have a life outside of being just a mother. And she will let the children know that, hey, I'm still me. I might be your mom, but I'm still me. But anyway, if it ever becomes a time where the mother gets older, sick, or incapacitated, she can often become very difficult to deal with in older age, because she can't get around as much. So she may be the type of mother at the nursing home that's like throwing the food at the nursing home assistant, or making waves, because she likes to be active. She likes to be out and about, because people with Aries moon in general and their mothers, they tend to, if there's no movement, no action, they can get depressed. They can get bored if they're not stimulated, because they're not the type of people like a Gemini or Gemini moon, where all you have to do is read a book, turn on the internet, and you're stimulated. They like action. They like to be out at the theme park, climbing trees, hiking, going to a football game, anything where the body is moving, going skating, swimming, interacting, athletics. That's what the Aries needs for emotional release. So if you're an Aries moon, just going to work out can be a release for you. Not saying it doesn't benefit all other signs, but especially for you, if you're angry, the best thing to do is go get physical. Go get physical in a healthy way. Go work out, go lift some weights, go for a run, go for a walk, go for a hike, but get moving. When you're angry, just get moving. That way your impulses don't just take over you and you end up doing something that you regret. Another thing with Aries moon people, if they don't do something impulsive that gets them a criminal case, they could have a parent that went to jail, a mother that went to jail, or a mother that's impulsive that did something in her youth where she got in trouble and had to go to jail for it. So a lot of times people know of the Aries moon mother as someone who pops off easily. You just don't know what's gonna come off and what's gonna come out of her mouth. She's like a loaded gun. So let me make sure I have all my notes for the Aries mother before I move forward. Let's see. Once again, if you are a moon in Aries, you are emotionally fulfilled when you are able to act. You can be very impatient, or you can have an impatient mother. Like, come on, I don't have time for this. Hurry up, make up your mind what you want. Another thing is too, you don't hold on to things long, and neither does your mother. You all may get into some very difficult arguments or things like that, but things blow over pretty easily. And you'll get to the point you'll be like, oh, that's just my mama. That's how she is. It's like there's some sort of understanding, unless there are different aspects in your chart to where there's conflicts or squares. Like, say for instance, if you're a Pisces and she's a Gemini in your sun sign, then there could be some problems. But otherwise, if say for instance you're a Sagittarius with an Aries moon and she's a Leo, then things will probably be more compatible for you too. That's what I'm trying to say before I get jumbled up. Another thing too is physical abuse and criminal acts can often be a potential with the Aries moon or their mother, somewhere in the bloodline or somewhere in the matriarchy. Dominating women, women that not like to hit men, but women that when they get angry, they can hit their mate. It can either be the person that has Aries moon, or their mother could have been like that, where you possibly have seen your mother, if she was angry at your father, or whatever man she was with, or whatever mate she was with. She could even be the type that pulls a knife out of impulse if she's angry or if she's crossed the wrong way. A lot of physical heat with the Aries moon, especially when the moon is full and either Mars is in retrograde or Mercury is in retrograde. Another thing too is, let's see, once again, domestic violence. With the Aries moon too, you can attract either effeminate men or men that like to be dominated, or your mother could prefer men that she's able to boss around, kind of like, yes ma'am, whatever you say, you know, that type of energy, kind of yes men. Another thing with Aries is, I want it all and I want it now. It's all about me. So if you as an Aries moon are not like that, like give it to me now, I gotta have it now, I want it all, then you could have a mother that's very demanding like that, that wants it all and wants it now. Aries moon does not repress emotions. They will pop off, but they're quick to forgive. And once again, they can get depressed if incapacitated. They don't like to be feeble. Another strong point, I'm glad I'm able to look at on my notes. You can have the type of mother as an Aries moon to where your mother could have bulldozed over people's personal space. Not to be a bully or not to be mean, but just kind of being friendly, like, hey, how are you? She'll go sit next to somebody. She's not worried about what they're doing, what their space is. Just start a conversation, doesn't ask. She'll be the type of person just barge in the door, won't knock. If she comes to your house and you're like, Mom, can you take your shoes off? She may be like, oh, I'm your mother, I'm not taking my shoes off. So she'll barge in with her shoes because they don't like rules. So a lot of people with Aries moon, either they don't like dealing with rules, sorry about that, or they have parents that don't like rules and structure. So when you become an adult, it may be difficult for you as an Aries moon to get your mother to comply when she visits your house and has your rules. Well, Mom, I don't like you to smoke in the house. That ain't no big deal. It ain't hurting nobody. Ain't like you smoking here every day. Well, Mom, I have babies. Well, shoot, I'm just gonna go outside. And then she gets an attitude with you because they don't like rules. Your mother usually won't like rules. Also, another thing too with Aries moon or their mother, they can be the type of person, they'll go up to a stranger and touch their hair. Is that your hair? What is that? It's like that type of energy to where they don't mean any harm, but they're just very, they can just bombard someone's energy or space without being considerate often. Lessons of the Aries moon that you are meant to learn from your mother. You chose the mother you have. If you have an Aries moon, you possibly chose your mother in order to learn lessons on empathy, being considerate, a need to state your boundaries. I'm thinking of the 7 of Wands card in tarot, where you have to kind of stand up for what you believe in against those that disagree with you. And then there's a need to learn the lesson of tolerance, learning how to tolerate certain things and knowing when not to tolerate certain things, learning to deal with cooperation and compromise. And also with the Aries moon as well, your biggest emotional soul lesson will be a need to not be ashamed to say, I need, I want, and I need, without feeling ashamed of that. Because with a lot of people and a lot of moon signs, they're afraid to admit what they really need. They will lie to themselves over and over again, but there is a need to just express it and say it. So that is why you possibly chose the mother that you chose, or the mother that raised you on a soul level, in order to learn those particular lessons on boundaries, tolerance, standing up for yourself, having confidence, taking charge, and saying what you need and getting those needs met expeditiously. Not patiently, but expeditiously, right now. Okay, let's move on to moon in Taurus. If your moon is in Taurus, you probably have a mother that is very thrifty, yet she knows quality. She's gonna look for the quality clothes, quality cuts of meat. If you eat meat, quality food. She's looking for those coupons, those sales, and she often likes to cook a lot. She likes to go shopping. Whenever she's having an emotional issue, then she will have you go shopping with her to the grocery store or to the fabric mart or to whatever store she likes to go to, going to buy home goods and things like that. That is usually the Taurus, the mother of the child who is a Taurus moon. Am I saying that correctly? If you have Taurus moon, there we go. Another thing too, if you have moon in Taurus, you may have a mother that's very possessive of you to where she makes you her whole world. Because often, if your moon is in Taurus, you may have a mother that doesn't like to make a lot of new friends and doesn't like to meet a lot of new people. And she can possibly stick to her comfort zone to where she doesn't like to venture out. She sticks to what she knows and what she considers tried and true. So by the time she's older, if she's divorced or widowed, she can often hold on very tightly to her children. Especially you, if your moon is in Taurus. She may not want to let you go. She might be the type of mother that doesn't want you to go off to college far away in order for her to have you close to her. She's afraid that the world will taint you with their terrible ideas, or that people won't love you like she will. So that's often a thing. The relationship is usually good between a Taurus moon person and their mother, but she can often be just holding on too tight, suffocating, even as the child is going into adulthood. Once again, it is a very good moon and for having a good relationship with your mother. It's a Queen of Pentacles type of energy if you're familiar with tarot. It's a stable woman. She's not always sappy, like, oh, come here, baby, like a Cancer, but she's dependable. You know she's there. You know she's going to have food fixed at the right time when it needs to be fixed. It's going to be a wholesome meal. She's going to make sure that your clothes are clean. She's going to make sure that you have structure, order, and that you're cleaning up after yourself, and she's teaching you good habits usually, because Taurus is all about methods, doing things on a normal basis. Methodology, that's the word I'm looking for. Another thing too is she will probably teach you how to cook early and how to do things for yourself early. Even though she will do most of them for you, she will train you how to do those things often. Your mother may either be heavy set or just a real earthy type of woman. She could even have a lot of earth in her chart, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. Not always, but sometimes, or she can come off like that. She can be very judicious with money, making money, and also holding on to it. Once again, a homebody, not always sociable, likes to be in the background, likes to be quiet, like the strong, silent type, very strong, like a dictator. Another thing too is the mother can hold you back from its expansion when you get to a certain point in your life to where you want to broaden your horizons. She may be the type that holds you back, not necessarily obviously, but covertly. She may kind of side eye you saying, well, I want to move here, or I want to marry this person, or I want to go to Japan for a few weeks. She may find a way, not necessarily to pout, because they're usually strong characters. They won't pout, but their silence will be their form of disapproval, to where you know that she doesn't approve of it and she doesn't like it. Because a lot of times the relationship is so good between Taurus moon and their mother to where they don't want to do anything to upset her, because she's like this great mountain, this great rock figure, to where it's like, well, if mom doesn't approve, I might not do it. So I'm going to change my mind, or I'm going to miss this opportunity. So you have to be careful of missing very important milestones and opportunities in your life, especially with relationships and career opportunities, due to your Taurus mother wanting to hold on to you too tight and keep you close to the home front, even into adulthood. Another thing too is your mother could have been or could be very stubborn. She can be interfering in your relationships. She may not be openly interfering with your relationship choices, but you will know if she disapproves with that silence, that Taurus like silence, even if she is not a Taurus. Please pardon the background noise outside. Another thing too, if you have a moon in Taurus, no woman or no man is usually good enough for your mother. It's like, it's very difficult for her to approve of someone for you, especially once again, if she's a widow, she's single or older. It can be the type of mother to where, not that she looks at the son as her boyfriend, or that, you know, or that she looks at her daughter as just all she has in the world, but it's just like being very protective. Like, she could have went through a lot and she doesn't want you to go through it. So it's like she wants to keep this hedge over you to where nobody can penetrate it. Kind of like Fort Knox. Once again, supportive mother materially, nice clothes, good education, wholesome meals, religious values, and she will also teach you a lot of traditions that you're going to follow throughout your life, and manners and things like that. Once again, she can be emotionally distant, but definitely still there for you. A solid, dependable figure in your life, even if the father is not. Once again, you all could live together in adulthood. You may have to move back home with her for a while. Or if she gets older and she can't take care of herself, you may have to move back in with her to take care of her. The lesson, if you have moon in Taurus, the lesson you have come to learn through your mother is a need to assert your need for accomplishment and connecting outside the comfort zone of the familiar in order to fulfill your destiny. Stability is good, but change is inevitable. Letting your mother know you are your own person, not a possession. Okay, next we have moon in Gemini. Hey. So, if your moon is in Gemini, I don't even know if I can call it emotions. I'll just call it sappy thoughts. They can be all over the place. They can become entangled and they can become overanalyzed. Of course, you have emotions, but you're going to compartmentalize them and you are going to dissect them from a logical level more than a truly spiritual level or intuitive level. Once again, emotions and thoughts can become confused and overanalyzed, and your mind can be like a busy ant bed. So just as your thoughts can be like that with Gemini, very genius place for the moon, you can have a mother to where it seems like she could have been like all over the place, always on the go. It's like you could never just catch her and behold her and have her for yourself. It just seems like she dropped these great messages or flashes of insight, and then she's off again to go pay attention to something else, some new hobby, some new relationship, some new friendship, some new endeavor. Another thing too is your mother could be like a ping pong, bouncing all over the place. Possibly not even always raising you, or either being present but not mentally present all the time unless there's something intellectual to talk about. With your moon being Gemini, your mother could actually be a better parent as you get older because she'll be someone that you can have good conversations with. Another thing with moon and Gemini is often their mothers will either, I know people always say this all the time about Geminis and it's so offensive, they will say that Geminis have bipolar disorder. That's not always the case, but if your moon is in Gemini, you could have a mother that has different personality disorders. Not that she's not a functional mother, but she can have issues such as that which kind of put her at an imbalance to where she can't just be totally there for you emotionally, but more there for you logically. Another thing too is sometimes you could have perceived your mother to kind of be like the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland. Or if you ever, I'm thinking of Gemini, what's his name? Johnny Depp. Have you ever seen like his characters that he plays? It could have been something like that if you lived with your mother and your moon is in Gemini. Oftentimes, you probably have laughed to keep from crying because you're not very comfortable with emotions, with Mercury being your ruling planet of your moon sign. So a lot of times you could have a mother that she often laughed when it was time to cry. She may not have been very good with expressing her feelings about things. She could probably just laugh them off like, it was nothing, you know, just kind of pretending in order to not deal with and examine on a deeper level what she's feeling or what she perceives. Your mother, if she wasn't able to be out and about everywhere, bouncing around back and forth, she could have been like a parrot in a cage, always chirping, always saying something, always making noise, always repeating what other people said. She could have possibly been a gossip or just someone always on the phone, chat, like a chatty Cathy. And once again, not being able to keep up with her mentally. She could have also been, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm thinking of Queen of Swords in tarot. She could have a very sharp tongue, sharp wit and sharp tongue. So your mother could possibly have cut you down with a lot of words that she said, or you could see her cutting people down with things that she says. Not mostly, okay, like Aries mother, they cut people down with their fists. Whereas moon and Gemini, your mother could have cut you down with her words, with her tongue, because Gemini has the sharpest tongue. If you think of people like Donald Trump or different people like that, their tongues is just like, it can create or destroy things. Also, your mother could be very childlike or childish, liking to play. You know, you're crying, you hurt your knee, or you just broke up with somebody, you had your first heartbreak in high school or middle school, and she's cracking jokes about it at the wrong time. Her timing for her humor may be off, and may be offensive at times. Like, Mom, but I need somebody to kind of hug me. And she wants to joke about it and trying to cheer you up with some comedy or making you laugh or sending you some funny meme or things like that. Very fun in general. Very good with children, but not necessarily good at disciplining children. Let's see. Seems like the mother's always running away. Like you can just quite never catch her. Either always traveling, always working, just always like, phew. You know how you see somebody running so fast you can't even hardly see their full body? It's just like they're always constantly on the go. And trying to catch them is like trying to catch a squirrel. Let's see. Another thing too with the Gemini mother, always some new hobby, new thing like that could keep her preoccupied. So there may not have been just full focus on you. It's like she focuses for 2 seconds and then bam, she's off to focus on something else. You come to tell her, Mom, I need this, I need that. And then she's like, okay, I understand. And then bam, her mind is somewhere else. She can have a mind like, attention deficit disorder. It's like she's gonna listen to what you say. She can forget it in a poof, or she could just not be totally listening to everything you're saying on an emotional level. She'll listen to it on a mental level. And this is also how you could possibly be with your children in some sort of way, through seeing this through your mother or the woman that took care of you. The soul lesson, if you are Moon in Gemini, that you have come to learn through your mother is emotions are temporary. And there is a need for emotional self-sufficiency, to give yourself what you are waiting for from others. The lesson is in communicating your emotional needs and what you feel. There's a need to look at temporary feelings objectively with a sense of stoic humor. So when I say that emotions are temporary, what I mean is not that your love will change for your mother or that your love will change for your family of people. But say, for instance, if you're mad, then if you wait, you're not going to stay mad forever. Everything shifts and changes. So that is the lesson that your soul has possibly come to learn if you're Moon in Gemini, that nothing stays the same. So don't take them seriously, but don't take them too seriously. Focus on it and then go focus on something else. Transient emotions is a soul level lesson for you as a Moon in Gemini, and communicating those emotions when you feel them at the time. Because if you wait too late, then the mood has shifted and changed again. Stop to take a sip of my water, and then we will go into Moon in Cancer. Alrighty, so with Cancer being ruled by the Moon, which is not a planet, this should be a pretty easy one. I don't even know why I have my notes in my hand. But Cancer deals with nurturing. It deals with motherhood energy, that Yemoja, Nanaburuku, Mawu type of energy, Oshupa, as we call it in Yoruba cosmology. Either way it goes, you are probably a very emotional person that can cry on cue. You're probably very intuitive, and your mother in turn, even if she's the coldest Capricorn in her sun sign, or she's the most logical Gemini or Aquarius, if your Moon is in Cancer, you will still perceive your mother through your lens as an emotional person, no matter what. Another thing is too, if you don't see her as emotional, you will see her as empathic or caring for other people. Also, her taking care of your needs and taking care of the needs of others, especially her children and her flock. She's the type of mother also that would prefer phone conversations rather than text. Intuitive, emotionally stable yet loving. Emotionally unstable yet loving, especially when the Moon is full. It's like she can just go wacky, like the Gemini type of situation when the Moon is full. And once again, I don't mean to offend anyone. Without disclosing any of my signs, probably you all know them already. So if you know my signs, then you know I'm not trying to offend anybody. But I digress. Another thing too is, despite the emotional instability, she's very nurturing and giving, and she does her best to play her role as a mother at all times. So even if she's going through something and she's crying, she's going to still be standing over the stove cooking a good meal, making sure that the house is clean. She's usually very doting, to where she does things for you to where it kind of, enable. In this situation, it will kind of cripple you if she overly mothers you too much, because it may not prepare you for the real world. She could have sheltered you from the cruelties of life by doing things for you and fighting your battles for you. Another thing too, when you get older, she can be another type of mother like of Taurus moon people, where she can interfere with relationships if she doesn't feel like somebody is good enough for you, or she feels like you treating your wife or your husband more importantly than her, and it's taking attention away, and she doesn't have a husband, or someone to keep her company, or other siblings to occupy her, or other causes, then she can wreak havoc on the dark side. Not always, but on her dark side. If you are moon in Cancer, your mother can wreak havoc in your relationships if you make her feel like your new mate or your new friends or your new projects are more important to her. Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you remember my birthday? Why did you put your wife at the head of the table? That's my spot. I'm your mother. I'm the one that birthed you. I'm going to be there after y'all get a divorce. It can be all that type of energy if you have moon in Cancer. It can often be, if you're a male, you could have often been a mama's boy or very close to your mother, or mama's baby if you're a girl. And also very serious about food. Good love and good food. Good home life. Good conversations as well. She gives good advice. Also, once again, lots and lots of cuddling and affection for the most part. But once again, it will also depend on other placements in your chart. A soul lesson that you have, or a few soul lessons that you have come to learn if you have moon in Cancer, lessons to learn through your mother is a need to feel the unconditional, dependable love of God, also known as the Creator. A need to feel the Creator's love in human form and have your tank filled up so much that you share that love with others. A need to have and create your own adult identity outside of what your mother expects you to always be, kind of like Taurus moon, in order to effectively connect with other people. So I'll repeat the last part. There is a emotional soul lesson you need to learn about how to create your own adult identity outside of what your mother expects of you. So that means you have to tell your mother one day, okay, I'm not just John Roger. I'm not just mama's baby. I'm John Roger Thompson, and I've come to do this. I've come to also be a husband or a father or this and that. Or I'm not just Tammy Cosby. I am a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a community leader mom. I'm not just mama's baby. So you have to kind of let her know, all right, mom, I know you love me. I love you too. I appreciate it, but I'm not just mama's baby. I'm other things to other people as well. So just like Taurus moon, you will have to often assert yourself with your mother if that was the case. Keep in mind too, once again, I know that moon in Taurus and moon in Cancer is supposed to be so great for having the most wonderful mothers, but doesn't mean so. You could have had the worst mother in the world or the most emotionally unavailable mother in the world, but keep in mind, if you do not kind of fit these generalizations, there are often other things conflicting in your other houses and aspects in your chart. Also making sure that your birth time is accurate as well, because I know a lot of times, just now recently, people are starting to really record their birth times and be very cognizant of it. So I know that when I was giving birth to my son, while I was pushing, I was looking right at the clock. So a lot of mothers are doing that now. But back in the day, if you were born like in the 80s or the early 90s, et cetera, the 70s, you may not know your exact birth time unless you're looking at your birth certificate if it's recorded on there. So it's very important to know that. But I digress once again. So exerting yourself to your mother, letting her know lovingly and diplomatically, I'm not just somebody that's just here for you. I'm for other people as well. I'm not just here to just have one relationship with you and you alone. There are other people important to me in my life as much. Whew. Moon in Leo. Now, if you are moon in Leo, you are emotionally fulfilled when you get attention, admiration, and recognition. In turn, if your mother, maybe she's not a Leo, doesn't matter, you can have the type of mother that can be dramatic, very optimistic, sexy to other people, friendly, but an attention whore. That's the best way I can say it diplomatically. Once again, she can also be the type of mother that steals the spotlight from you. Say, for instance, you're graduating from college and she's like, oh my God, I have a pain in my chest. Because she can often like to be the one that either competes. If she doesn't compete with you, then she can be the one that kind of takes the attention off of her children in order for it to be focused. Especially you, because your moon is in Leo. So she may not act like that with your siblings if their placement is different. So they may not perceive her like that. So there's a need for recognition and to be seen. On the positive side, because it's still a good placement in general, I think, On the positive side, she can be like the dance mom type. She's going to have you being a cheerleader. She's going to have you being a football player. She's going to be the one in the stands cheering you on, because she's often proud of her children based on their accomplishments, what they do, what activities they do. And not talking about like deep accomplishments like winning a Nobel Prize, but, oh, well, my son is a quarterback, or my son is the head cheerleader, or my son is the majorette captain. She likes things like that. She likes to put her children in pageants and dress them up and teach them how to put their makeup on, and put them in children's theater and things like that, because she loves a dramatic flair. She likes children she can be proud of. Even if she was not 100% emotionally nurturing, she could have showed her love and care for you. Like, here, baby, let me show you how to put your lipstick on. Or, look at my child, you know, like buying all types of bows and dresses. Look how my children are dressed. Don't go outside looking raggedy like that. You're representing me. So everything is based on pride, of her being proud of her children. What you look like, proud of appearances, all of that type of stuff. A need for people to appreciate, look at my beautiful children, look what I've accomplished. All of that. She's going to take pride in you, even if she's distracted in other ways and is a strong personality. Once again, she's like the dance mom type. She's going to have you in activities. If you're just sitting around and you're not going outside playing, you're not doing anything, she's not going to have that. You got to be doing something to make your mother look good if you have moon in Leo. Another thing too, once again, is she can live vicariously through her children. If there's things that she has not accomplished, or things that she wishes she could go back to those days and times, then she's going to do it through you. She can often be the mother that she becomes like the coach, like the majorette coach, or she likes to be there making sure all of the cheerleaders have their uniforms, and just very active, because she's probably reliving a time in her life when she did those things. Once again, pageants, modeling. Oh, you got a model, girl, you look good, I gotta put you in this and that. Always taking pictures, very proud. Pride will be the theme with a Leo mother. I'm sorry, if your moon is in Leo, with your mother. She doesn't have to be a Leo herself. Once again, attention stealer. If you are a young lady and you have a boyfriend and you bring him home and you're coming from school, she could be the type of mother, she would never betray you, but she could be the type of mother to where she's the MILF type, to where she wants to see if she still has it. So she kind of like, oh, you know, kind of does little charming things to kind of charm your boyfriend. A competitive sort of personality, to where she competes for you. Once again, it's all about attention and recognition. So the sole lesson that you have come to learn, if your moon is in Leo through your mother, is a need to realize that your emotional fulfillment deserves VIP treatment, attention, and recognition. And a need to teach your mother to see you, not just what you do, but to love you for you, not what you have accomplished. Another soul lesson that you have come to learn through your mother is, your success in life. Another lesson that you've come to learn is your success in life that you often strive for, with your moon being in Leo, could be due to continuing to make your mother proud. So you might be the type of person that's like, well, I'm going to be a doctor because I know this is what will make my mother proud. I'm going to be a beautician and own my own beauty shop because this is what my mother did and I know that it will make her proud. So a lot of times you kind of slide into home base, into success and accomplishments based on trying to impress your mother and get her approval. Kind of like Capricorn moon a little bit, but for different reasons, for show. Even if you're not 100% happy with what you've done, you'd rather have done something deeper or more meaningful, Nobel Prize type of work, you're still going to do things based on appearance if you are moon in Leo dealing with your mother many times. Won't always apply. Once again, and the reasons why you do these things is because you want your mother to be like, I'm proud of you. You did your best and you are approved of. Moon in Virgo. If you are a moon in Virgo, you probably had a mother that sacrificed a lot, especially for the sake of appearances and stability. She could have been the type of mother that stayed with your father or the man that she was married to for your sake. Well, I'm staying for the children, even though I'm not happy. She could have been a woman that was very critical, not only of you and your siblings, but critical of herself. Always second guessing herself, or someone gives her a compliment. She's like, oh, well, it was nothing. You know, just kind of disregarding compliments or acknowledgement. Once again, very organized, very methodical in what she does, dependable in general, or it can be the opposite of where she wasn't there. She could have had some health challenges when you were growing up. She could have had some mental issues to where she wasn't able to be with you. Maybe she had an addiction or different things like that could have come up to where she wasn't totally there. Or she could have a child that has some sort of health challenges that she always had to take care of, or a parent that she had to take care of to where she was always running to the hospital to take care of someone that was sick, ailing, or going through something, always putting out fires, giving her service to other people, always responding to emergencies and things like that. So her emotional coddling probably won't be there, but it will be there through her sense of duty, service, and being able to organize everybody, being structured, making sure that you're doing your best. Well, hey mom, I brought home an A-. Well, you could have done better. You could have brought home an A+. So do better next time. It's all of that type of energy if your moon is in Virgo. The soul lesson that you have come to learn if your moon is in Virgo through your mother is a need to organize your outer world by compartmentalizing what's going on in your inner world. A need for timelines and remembering your soul contracts, and to be careful staying in situations that make you feel criticized, miserable, or victimized in any sort of way. Okay, I think I'm getting through this pretty good. Next, we have Moon in Libra. Moon in Libra. If you are Moon in Libra, your mother is probably very beautiful or very pleasant looking, or she has a pleasant demeanor. People like her in general. She can usually be a peacemaker, very agreeable, but sometimes just a little shallow. You know, kind of like, well, I'm the Avon lady, or I like to look beautiful. Kind of like that Moon in Leo appearance sort of thing. But once again, very pleasant. On the flip side, because people always look at Libra as shallow, and I don't agree, they can also be very strong in their own way, but diplomatically. So she'll be strong, she'll be dedicated, but she's going to do it in a nice way. She does things pleasantly, femininely, demurely, even though Libra is actually a masculine sign. It's a cardinal masculine sign, so it is a sign of leadership. If you are a moon in Libra, if your mother did not stay with your father throughout your childhood, she could have had many boyfriends, many different relationships. You could have had a whole bunch of stepfathers, or you could have seen men kind of going like a revolving door. But whatever the theme was, she usually wasn't single very long. She usually ended up married again if she did not stay with your father. Or she usually ended up in situations where she always had company, because if your moon is in Libra, your mother has often been in codependent situations, whatever reason she stayed, whether it be because, oh, I'm so in love or this or that, she usually stays in those relationships. And not like the Virgo mother that's just there for the children. She's usually there because she feels karmically tied to whatever relationship she's in at that time. Your soul lesson that you have come to learn emotionally through your mother, if your moon is in Libra, is a need to make healthy, slow, logical choices in love and friendship, and to not choose long-term relationships based on shallow reasons. A need to look past outer beauty and appearances and look deeper under the hood for what's going on underneath the surface. A need to not be over codependent or down on yourself if you are solo for a temporary time period, and a need to assert yourself and opinion diplomatically without being a doormat. Moving on, moon in Scorpio. If your moon is in Scorpio, you possibly had a mother that had a lot of secrets. She probably had a big past going on in her history. She could have had some situations to where she was molested in childhood, because the secrets usually deal with sex. So she could have been molested by somebody in her family. She could have went through some things to where maybe she didn't tell you that her father, that your father hit her one time, or maybe she had some addictions. Maybe she went through some stuff before you were born that you'll never know about. But things, the thing with Moon and Scorpio people with their mother often is the mother often has skeletons in her closet that are often discovered later. With Moon and Scorpio, something could happen to where it's revealed that your father is not your biological father, not always, or Your father is not the man you thought he was, or your mother's not the woman you thought she was all this time. There were other things going on underneath the surface. She's often stressed, busy, and carrying the weight of other people, and just has too much going on to totally focus on motherhood, though she's very deep and very loving. But there's so many other people to love. Once again, like the Virgo mother who has many fires to put out and helping all these people. The Scorpio, if you have moon in Scorpio, your mother could be holding on to a lot of people's secrets that she knows about, but she has to hold it all in, and it could be like killing her just to hold all these emotions inside and hold all of these things inside for either status purposes or to just sweep things under the rug for the sake of family. Let's see what else I wanted to say about moon in Scorpio. Once again, she won't tell you everything until you kind of dig it out of her, and she holds on to things. She could possibly be bitter about certain things that happened to her, betrayals, molestations, anything, any type of victimization or things like that. She could possibly be holding all that in and not letting it go. So your emotional soul lesson that you have come to learn through your mother that you can use in other relationships is knowing when to let go if a situation is not a healthy situation for you, knowing when to leave, knowing that you do not have to bear the burden of other people's secrets, and knowing that catharsis is okay. You don't have to hold on to that because it could make you sick, and it could affect your female reproductive system, because Scorpio rules the genital area. So if there's issues that the mother held on to and you're holding this with your Scorpio moon, it can affect your fertility in many ways, and it could affect how fast you age, all of those types of things. So there's a need for catharsis and to release. When I say catharsis, get it out, whether it's writing on a journal or talking to a therapist, but there's a need to speak about it to someone. Not necessarily the people involved, but there's a need to reveal something and to get it off your chest and to let it out and to cry and to feel, because moon and Scorpio feel very deeply, very intensely. They say that moon and Scorpio is not the best aspect for the moon, but once again, it deals with intuitive powers, being able to have spiritual gifts and things such as that as well. And your mother could be a natural wise woman without even having to work for it. Your soul lesson you have come to learn through your mother, if your moon is in Scorpio, is a need to understand that a woman is more than a mother, and that she had a life before you and a history before you, and a need to not hold on to painful secrets, painful family secrets and skeletons, and a need to dig deeper into your matriarchal bloodline secrets. What are they holding? What are they holding on to? Because whatever they're holding, you're holding that in your womb space. So there's a time for not just sexual healing, but reproductive healing, heart healing, emotional healing, and knowing when to let things go and when to talk. Moving on to Sagittarius moon. Let me see how long this video is. Ooh, we're almost into an hour. I never go this long. Sagittarius moon, you could have been the type of child that moved a lot. You could have been the type that was the so-called army brat, to where you had to relocate, or you weren't around your blood family, but it was just you and your mom always traveling or being gone somewhere, moving to a foreign country, a different part of the country, all of those types of things. Always on the go, always moving, always changing schools. Could have always been in a church, mosque, temple, school, Sunday school, and your mother could have changed religions a lot. Maybe when you were younger, you all went to church, and by the time you were 15, y'all went to the Nation of Islam, and then by the time you were 20, then she's into African spirituality. It could have been a lot of changes in her beliefs and philosophy systems, and she could be very, not necessarily intuitive, not saying she isn't, but she could be a woman that's very much into esoteric spirituality. If she's not into religion, then she's definitely into what the universe is doing. A free spirit sort of mom. She could have been a mother, kind of like the Libra mom, where she could have changed relationships a lot. I'm sorry, Libra moon mom. She could be a guru type of mom, to where people look up to her as a spiritual teacher. She probably wasn't very possessive with you. She kind of let you do your own thing because she was busy doing her own thing as well. They often aren't the type of mothers that hold on tight, like a Taurus moon mother or Cancer moon mother. They kind of let their children be. They don't shelter them like Virgo mother in certain other ways. So they kind of let their children roam and explore, because they like to roam and explore. If your moon is in Sagittarius And once again, travel will be a big theme. If it's not traveling, then it's always being on the go within your city. But usually it's long distance travel and relocating. That's a big theme in your life as a child. And also taking some sort of courses. Education and spiritual learning could have been a very big theme in your life if your moon is in Sagittarius. The emotional soul lesson that you'll come to learn through your mother if your moon is in Sagittarius is a need to remember that there is more than one way to believe in the Creator. More than one way to do things. And just because someone does it differently than you does not make them wrong. So that is why you chose your mother, in order for her to teach you those lessons so that you can have it throughout your life to prepare you for your destiny. Moon in Capricorn. My moon. Very personal for me. If you are moon in Capricorn, you were an adult as a child. You've been through a lot. You've seen a lot, and you had to grow up very early. You could have had a situation either where your parent was very older and they needed help because of health challenges, because I was raised by both my grandmothers, both my maternal and paternal grandmother. Or if you lived with your biological mother, then she could have been like the type of person where you had to take care of her. With Capricorn moon, it is not unusual to have a mother to where you come home from school and you have to help her fix her clothes because she's passed out drunk on the couch and different things like that. Not always the case, but there's often a situation to where you feel like you're more of the parent and your parent is more of the child. Because often with the Capricorn moon, you're an old soul. So you're often actually the elder to your mother in a karmic relationship. So in a past life, if your moon is in Capricorn, your mother could have actually been your child in a past life or your younger sibling. So that role is often still played out in this life. If that's not the case, where your mother is not younger than you on a soul level, then it will be a situation to where you purposely chose her in order for you to be a boss. Because if your moon is in Capricorn, you were born to want to lead and succeed. So say for instance, on a soul level, you're in heaven or the higher realms, in the spirit realm, and you're choosing your destiny. You would probably go forth and discuss with your spirit guides that, okay, in order for me to be great, I have to go through some challenges. I have to have some obstacles. I have to have some enemies. And I don't need a mother to coddle me like a moon and Cancer person would. I need a mother that's going to be tough. I need a mother that's not going to be emotional, and I need to have women in my family that's not going to be totally coddling to me, because I need to learn how to be emotionally in control and a boss. And these challenges are going to shape me into the person I'm going to become, and they're going to press me. They're going to be very difficult, but I'm going to overcome them. And it's going to make me greater. It's going to build my character even deeper. Because keep in mind, Capricorn is moon by the dreadful sign Saturn. And Saturn is the lord of karma, pressing, pressure, difficult soul lessons, pain, challenges, and all of these different type of things. So, you know, a lot of people, they will say about moon and Capricorn, you're so cold and this and that. No, Capricorn is not only not cold, but they're very, very intuitive, because Capricorn is the sea goat. So it's like the goat leaving the water in order to climb higher heights. So we have to compartmentalize our intuition and our emotional needs in order to get things done. A lot of time, moon and Capricorn people have been through so many things in their life before they're even 20 years old, to where they learn how to kind of be frozen. Not that their emotions aren't there, because we are very, very, very emotional and sensitive, but it's like, say for instance, if we're children and we're enjoying having our parents in our life, or we're enjoying a situation, we're enjoying a school, and then here comes something just kind of pulling the rug out from under us. It's kind of like a kid having an ice cream cone and they're enjoying their ice cream cone, and somebody just comes by and whop, just snatches the ice cream cone out their hand. So often, right when we're trusting people and we're letting them in and our hearts have been open, that is when we have been betrayed. Right when we were enjoying a time period in our life, that is often a time where a big tragedy has hit. So it's just like, as soon as a moon and Capricorn person begins to enjoy something about their life or open their heart to a person, here comes Saturn to go whop, kind of like knocking the ice cream cone out of our hands proverbially, in order to give us some other type of lesson. So it's almost like we're bracing ourselves, like, you know, like if you hit somebody too many times, if they take too many hits, they're going to eventually, if they think somebody's going to threaten to hit them, they're going to brace themselves. So we're always braced. Not that we're fulfilling self-fulfilling prophecies, but we always brace ourselves like, okay, should I be too happy? Should I love too deeply? Because the deeper you love, the deeper you can hate. Because it's like if you love too deeply and someone crosses you, then you're going to have to give them that work. So it's that type of thing where being emotionally controlled is very important and was always a big theme in our life. But I digress. Once again, you could have had a dependent mom. You could be the elder on the soul level to your mother. You could have been, you could have been an adult even as a child. It's like you act like a more mature person when you're a child, but then the older you get, the more childish we get. So not saying that we're childish in a bad way, but it's like we can open up and kind of let loose and finally relax, because throughout childhood, and often we're the oldest sibling, because I'm the oldest of all four of my sisters. So it's like later on in life, once things are established and we've accomplished things that we want to do in our destiny, then we can finally kind of let loose, release, and just be like, okay, now it's safe for me to enjoy life finally. Because Capricorn is all about duty, also putting out fires and having to be emotionally composed when faced with challenges and hardships, which is nothing new to somebody with Capricorn because of that Saturn element. Another thing too is difficult. It's often a difficult placement to have a good relationship with your mother. There can often be challenges to where it's very difficult to connect with her, but later in life you can get closer to her once you fully understand what's the dynamics of what's going on karmically. Also, if you are moon in Capricorn, whether you're male or female, your mother could have been very worried about social appearances and propriety. So she could be the type of mother that's like, no, that's not, etiquette. That's not appropriate. Don't act like this. Don't do this, do that. So they instill in us often to be very status conscious and very appearance conscious about how we present ourselves. And not only that, they can often be status conscious with our relationship choices. So you would not bring home a bum if you are moon in Capricorn to your mother and the females in your family to look at, because they're going to be like, no, that's not approved of. If you're moon in Capricorn, you are often attracted to more stable type of characters, older than you, your senior, even if you're a man, because that's the element of Capricorn, that eldership, because you already feel like an old soul, even if you're young. So you tend to act older, especially if you were raised by grandmother like I was. So that explains a lot with that Capricorn moon. And because your soul is born to want to achieve and overcome obstacles in order to be the boss, if you fail, your mother, you could have had the type of mother that rubbed it in your face in some sort of way. So say for instance, you were in a spelling bee contest and you didn't win. So instead of your mother coddling you like a moon and Cancer mother, she would often, moon and Cancer, like, oh baby, it's gonna be okay. We'll do better next time. We'll study more. If you have moon in Capricorn, your mother will probably be like, well, I told you, you should have got that book from the library that I told you to get, and so you brought it on yourself, so you just got to do better next time. Maybe next time you'll listen to me. Or if something doesn't work out with a relationship, well, I told you he wasn't no good. I told you he was a dog, but you didn't listen. So they don't do it to be mean or abusive. They're doing it because that's what, karmically, that's what your soul agreed to for her to act as in your life. But it's also in order, once again, emotional composure. They think that they're doing you justice when they're giving you like this tough love instead of like coddling you and encouraging you. They will encourage you by going, okay, well, go harder next time. So it's like, even though it's not nurturing like a Cancer moon or things like that, it's like, it just makes you sharper, like iron sharpens iron. Uh-oh, my thing is on 20%. So it's like iron sharpening iron. With them being so cold and kind of saying, I told you so, instead of coddling you, it makes you go, It makes you sharpen your fangs and your claws and dig in and start climbing like the Capricorn does, climbing that mountain. It makes you more determined. It makes you more, it makes you stronger instead of being coddled. If you're moon in Capricorn, you don't need to be coddled. You do need love and emotional expression, but often that comes when you have to do it for yourself. As you realize what your moon is, and as you get you know, more mature in life, then you begin to give it to yourself. Then you can finally relax and then be more like somebody who has a moon in Leo or moon in all of these other positive signs, or that are viewed as more positive. Once again, you may have trouble with your mother accepting you if you're a loser. I'm sorry, not a loser. If you appear to her as a loser, or you're trying to find yourself, then she may often not approve of you with moon in Capricorn, especially if you're a male. That could be an issue with that. Once again, emotional control. For instance, when my grandmother passed away, my maternal grandmother, and she died in my arms when I was 12, and they had the funeral. I remember a family member, a female family member, she's like, you know, I wanted to cry. And she's like, chin up, we don't do that. So a lot of times with moon in Capricorn, we are taught early to repress our emotions and to be in control, or to wait till we go to a closet and then go cry at a different time. But once again, you will learn early that, you know, emotions belong in a box. It's like, okay, I'll deal with this later. I'll put this up and I'll deal with this later. And it's often very difficult to cry on cue because you're so busy having to be strong, because you're the older person, so you're often taking care of your elders, or you're taking care of your younger siblings in some sort of way. So tears won't flow as easily all of the time until you just kind of blow up, and then just it's like a floodgate is released. Let's see what else we have. Hold on one second, I'm almost done. Something else I wanted to say. Okay. So your emotional soul lesson that you have come to learn if you are moon in Capricorn is that you are so powerful. If your mother could talk to you and she could express her love for you and she could say it verbally, she would be saying, you are so powerful. You are so worthy, and you are so strong. That I, as the mother, look to you, and I am in awe of you. You are the wind beneath my wing, and if it wasn't for me having you, I probably would not even be here right now, or worse off, in a different type of situation. So your emotional lesson that you've come to learn if your moon is in Capricorn is, it's okay to discriminate with who you show your heart and your emotions to. It is okay to discriminate and be vulnerable, and to have a certain time period when you want to express yourself, because that is needed for the type of element that you're in this life. Capricorn is in the winter time. So say, for instance, a wolf or someone like that, they may need more hair if they're in a colder environment, to where it's a different type of animal may not need as much hair. So you have what you need for the type of world that you're growing up in. So if you seem cold or detached or emotionally compartmentalized, that is for a reason. That is what you needed in your backpack when you came here for your soul lessons and your destiny, in order to get to where you were going. Because if you were more like vulnerable or sappy, you wouldn't have survived. So your moon in Capricorn gives you an emotional strength and resilience in order to weather those lessons that Saturn throws at you very often. I digress. So that's pretty much it. For moon in Capricorn. Let's see, we're going into Aquarius. So if you are an Aquarius moon, you could have had a rebel type of mom. She could have been an activist, like the type that goes on marches and different things like that, the president of civic club and fighting for people's rights and all of those different type of things. And she could be the type of mother that's like, don't be a crybaby. It's not a big deal. Just kind of, not necessarily suck it up like moon in Capricorn, because Aquarius has that element of Saturn with them too, even though they're ruled by Uranus. So it'll still be like that element where it's like having to repress emotions to a certain degree. If you are a moon in Aquarius, then you'll probably see your mother helping other people's children, but neglecting being intimate with you and your siblings possibly. That could be how you perceive her. So you could feel like, dang, can I ever have my mom to myself? It seems like she's always doing other things for other people. Maybe she had a daycare in the house and she was always babysitting other people's children, or she was a school teacher and then she was active in the school. And it seemed like possibly you could have always shared your mother with other people. And if it's not other children, it was just like other causes that always had her attention. Kind of like Gemini mom with her hobbies and flitting back and forth. Except Aquarius, that's a stable sign. So your mother could have been there, but she could have just still had other things that had her attention, rather than just kind of coddling you like Cancer moon or Taurus moon. She's the community mom. She's everybody's mom. She's a soccer mom. She's a mother to the motherless usually. Because usually you have a humanitarian mother that doesn't just think about you, but she thinks about other people. She could be the cheerleader mom, the majorette mom, all of those type of things, helping other children, you know, sign their financial aid loans to get into, the financial aid forms to get into school and to help them get to the next level and all of those type of things. And she could have even been a mother that adopted or had stepchildren that she took care of as well. If you are Aquarius moon, your soul lesson you have come to learn from your mother on an emotional level is love is universal. We are one with all things in all walks of life. What looks like a big deal emotionally right now, it won't matter as much down the line. The future looks bright when you think of others as well as yourself. And that is the soul lesson you come to learn with moon in Aquarius. If you are a Pisces moon, last moon, made it to the finish line almost. You are very intuitive. You could be very sacrificing and very sensitive to a degree. And your mother could have been that way as well, no matter what her sun sign is. But with the Pisces moon, you're often the younger child. Oh my goodness. You're often the younger child, and you're often the favored child many times. But you could have had a mother that was addicted to something, either addicted to a bad relationship, addicted to prescription pills, addicted to drugs, or just always like in a fantasy world. Like it's like she could have been delusional to where she doesn't see things the way they are. She could have been in denial about a lot of things. If she was not, you know, addicted to anything, there's this element of this Neptunian type of illusion to where she has these rose-colored glasses, or she just did not see things accurately as they were. So that could have been an issue as well. If you try to express something to your mother, she's like, oh, it wasn't like that. Or she tries to make it more positive than it was and not facing the reality that it is what it is. It could be all those types of things. If you are moon in Pisces, someone could have come and told your mother, okay, your husband is cheating on you. And then you try to go to your mother and be like, Mom, Dad's cheating on you. I saw him. And she's like, oh, no, don't worry about it. It was nothing. They're just friends. And it could be like all of these type of illusions going on. Or, Mom, this person touched me inappropriately. No, they wouldn't do that. Or there's this element of denial often with Pisces moon. Another thing, if your moon, not always, I'm not saying this for everybody, but another thing about Pisces moon is too, you could have seen your mother be victimized in some sort of way. You could have seen your mother in a domestic violence sort of situation, or a situation to where either she was emotionally, verbally, or financially abused and she was at the mercy of someone else, or she could have been taken advantage of to where she was like the sacrifice or the victim. I'm thinking of the Hangman card in tarot, to where things could have been just always uptight, delayed, on hold. There's like this always sacrifice, just this energy to where she wasn't empowered, possibly, to where you saw your mother in a weak role. You could have seen her cry all the time, or you could have seen her with bruises under her eyes, or different things like that. In the negative aspects. On the positive aspects, you could have a mother that's very spiritual, like she could have been a spiritual teacher too, kind of like Sagittarius, but really intuitive, like a master intuitive and in control of her emotions, good at giving advice, pulling things from the spirit realm, good at dreams and all of those types of things. Like she'll tell you, I had a dream of fish, or I had a dream of winning lottery numbers, all of these type of things. They will be very highly intuitive on a positive level. So there's not just negative aspects about Pisces if you have Pisces moon and you're dealing with your mother. But once again, it can deal with your mom being in codependent situations as well that are abusive. Whereas Libra moon, you could have a codependent mom that's always in different relationships. With Pisces moon, they can just be codependent to bad. Pisces moon, their mother can be codependent to addictions, bad friendships, situations that don't have her empowered, and just different things like that, whereas there's some element of oppression of some sort. Once again, having to be careful of prescription pill addictions as well. You know, probably seeing her, you know, with a joint, different things like that. So the soul lesson that you've come to learn emotionally through your mother, if your moon is in Pisces, is in love, there are compromises, but you don't have to sacrifice your needs to make someone else happy that doesn't care as much about yours, or that doesn't respect you. Addictions, romance novels, fantasies will not fix the hole in your soul. Running and being in denial about things will not fix the hole in your heart, or the issues that you are afraid to look at objectively and be honest with yourself about. See things as they are, not how you want them to be. So I need a big sip of water, and that is the end of this video about how you are connected to your mother through your moon sign, even if she is not that sign, even if she doesn't have that sign anywhere in her chart. This is a reflection of how you perceive her, not necessarily how she is, but it's how she is to you. It's your own personal relationship to your mother. And I reiterate, your siblings may have a totally different perception because they have their own moon sign, so they will see your same mother through their own lens. So this also shows the universality of the Creator. Everybody has their own way they see things about the Creator and spirituality, and everybody has their own private perceptions. So the moon reminds us to go within. What do we feel? What do we think? Another thing to remember is too that just because we feel, think, or perceive things the way we do doesn't mean that anyone else's perception is any less valid. We are one with all things. And that is the end of this video. I think this is one of the longest videos I made, I think. So I'm done. Finally, I release you, and I wish you well, and I hope this gives you insight on your matriarchal bloodline, your mother, your emotional needs, and your spiritual gifts. Peace and bliss.